In 2021, I thought I did everything right in the bull market. I bought the correct coins, Bitcoin, Ethereum, HBAR, Gala Games, and they made me a bunch of money. But unfortunately, as you many guys know, and many of you guys were involved in the last bull run, we left worse than what we started with. So in this video, I want to give you an actual plan for my bull run of 2025. Spiritual advice for you. Take it from my lessons. I'm going to share a lot of failures that I learned from 2021 with, making almost 950K, almost $1 million at the peak. Unfortunately, losing pretty much everything. Half of it went to Celsius. So Alex Mashinsky obviously stole half of it. And the other half just pretty much didn't go to zero, but read it all the way back down after doing so well. So what I plan to do in this video, it's going to be a raw video, but I plan to give you a strategy. If this is your first bull run, if you got burned in 2021, because I know a lot of people went through the same mistakes that I did, and that was waiting for Bitcoin to hit 100K, waiting for Ethereum to hit $10,000, waiting for HBAR to hit $1 to $2, XRP, etc. And it got a lot of us wrecked, even though we saw some great money on paper, and I'm going to touch on that at the end of this video, which I think is so important. But ultimately, a lot of us lost everything. And that was because we didn't understand some few points I'm going to talk about in this video. And the first one, which is obviously, it sounds easier said than done, which is taking fucking profits. The biggest problem people have in cryptocurrency, at least from all my friends back in the days, even the new friends I have right now, is everybody has set numbers on how they want to take profits. And I know this might sound so lame and so easy to do, but I promise you, once you're in the thick of the game, it will completely change your output. So biggest failures for me. Number one, had some decent amount of Bitcoin. And I was hoping for Bitcoin of $100,000. Plan B, Michael Saylor was all talking about this number. Elon Musk started to buy it. And a lot of big institutional investors, were getting under the fact that they were buying a lot of Bitcoin. And then I was watching people like BitBoy back in the days. And I don't know what's happened to BitBoy on a side note. He's kind of lost the plot. But he used to be a great YouTuber, right? And it's none of these guys' fault. It's our own fault, right? Even if you were following me back in the day when I had a very small YouTube channel, I was just looking at what other people were saying. And I was like, okay, well, if Bitcoin is repeating this 4-year cycle, which it did, by the way, it pretty much called it perfectly. But our price predictions were massively wrong. And the problem with price predictions is they get people wrecked. The much better strategy, and I wish I had this in the last bull run, and it's something I'm taking away to this bull run, and we're going to talk about some other stuff as well. But the first point is getting rid of the dollar value to sell an X coin. If you took profits along the way back in Bitcoin, even if you were invested in the C19 crash, even when I was getting in at 18, 19K, even a little bit later, you would have ultimately made a lot of money in Bitcoin. And then it can get even crazier with coins like Ethereum, Solana, HBAR, and all these meme coins and everything else, and especially gaming, which was a great run, Axie Infinity, etc., the sandbox and decentralized mana. But a lot of people made all this paper money. But how did a lot of people not quit their jobs, retire their bloodline, go on all these cool holidays, maybe buy that new car and get a new house, etc., because we were all far too greedy. And greed is one of the biggest problems, not in just cryptocurrency, in the stock market, in real estate, and just money in general, right? We all want more, right? Money is very important. Okay, that's why we're playing cryptocurrency. You're not playing cryptocurrency for the tech. You're not playing cryptocurrency for anything else rather than to put a certain amount of dollars in, exit this bull run with a certain amount of dollars out, hopefully higher, and then probably after the next bull run, we'll learn a lot of mistakes, we'll make a few profits, and then we'll come in the next bull run and do it again. There's no reason why you'll be in cryptocurrency. So you have to understand how to take profits. And I think the best way, this is just what I'm personally doing, and if I had this in the last bull run, I'd be a lot better off for this bull run. I can promise you that. I think it's a much better strategy to, you have those numbers, but scale it out. Now that might be, for example, in the last bull run, taking profits at Bitcoin might sound low right now, but it would have saved you 45K, you take a chunk out, 20%, 49K, 55, 59, 64, and maybe you have a little bit left for the 100, 120, and obviously we never got anywhere close to that, but you've almost guaranteed 60% out, and you can take it on the way down as well once you enter or once you realize it's a bear market. And then you take that to Ethereum, then you take that to HBAR, take that to Axie Infinity. And ultimately, what you would have done is you wouldn't have cashed out everything, because yes, if you have hit those numbers that you were going for, you would have made more money. But a lot of our targets in 2021, they didn't even come close. And a lot of us read it all the way back down. So number one on this list, on my actual plan for this 2025 bull run, is I've got almost, it's hard to do with some lower market cap coins, I have almost my take profit strategy levels at 20, 20, 20, and then I start to go maybe 10, 15, 5, etc. I start to scale a little bit less as we get higher the price, but I've got really 60% out at safe levels where I can comfortably say, even if the 40% left isn't hit, I've already made back my initial, and I've already made back way more. Now, I think the unpopular opinion, and nobody really likes to talk about this on YouTube, but I'm going to be probably the first guy that really says this, is unfortunately, especially new investors, people are going to lose all their money. People are going to lose sleep. People are going to maybe lose their relationships. People are going to lose their house. And how do I know that? I know so many people, even my friends group back in Dumfries in Glasgow, they're thinking, okay, we've kind of hit a local bottom, and that could be true. Bitcoin, I think, is at 85K, 90K, even 80K. It doesn't really matter, right? What they're doing, and I've seen this in the last bull run, and for some guys it paid off great, right? But for most guys, in the last bull run, and what's happening right now, just in the friend group I'm talking about, they're taking out debt. So what they're doing is maybe some guys are remortgaging their house, some guys are pulling, good assets to here to invest in cryptocurrency. And that can be a good strategy if you know how to play the game of cryptocurrency, but it can also be a bad strategy because if you completely F up the bull run, especially if it's your first bull run, you're going to be so new to this. And that's really why I make videos like this, to kind of just show a lot of lessons and failures, because nobody really likes to talk about failures. Like, I'll tell you, real, and I say this all the time, real talk, I lost everything. I was not a successful crypto investor in 2021. In fact, I was probably the worst crypto investor in 2021 because I put in over 100 grand, didn't take the profit to almost $1 million. I read it all the way back down, and I was left pretty much penniless, like, to be 100% honest. And then it made it even worse. Like I said at the start of the video, I put it in some scam with Celsius, and it was doing great at the time, but ultimately that company went bust. So I think people are going to lose all their money, which is very bad because they don't understand how to take profits, and it makes it even worse when people are taking out debt. So I can't tell you what to do, but what I can ultimately just say, if you are brand new, please don't take out any debt. Please don't start selling maybe good stocks and good assets you have, because ultimately you want to be a diversified portfolio. And if you are all in crypto like me, just understand that if you're bringing in debt to the equation of cryptocurrency, what happens if it doesn't play off? Okay, what happens if you completely fuck up? What happens if it doesn't go as well? And you have to pay off that debt eventually. Where are you going to pull that money? So, in my opinion, I don't think it's very smart to leverage trade unless you're going super low leverage. But number two, ultimately, I don't think it's very smart to take out money from the real world that you have to pay back, or it's literally game over if you get it wrong. And the kind of second to third reason why I think people are going to lose a lot of money is they're not investing in blue chip coins, right? Now, I get it. AI agents is hot. Gaming is hot in the last bull run. It's not really hot right now, so I think there's some great buying opportunities there. You've got meme coins starting to launch again from pretty much everywhere. Obviously, we had Donald Trump's whoopsie doopsie with the Trump coin, and then we had his wife, Melania coin, that pretty much went 90% down. And that is just a kind of early phase of how most people get wrecked. I know so many people that were never interested in cryptocurrency that just rid Trump coin, and they made money in like half a day to one day when it went absolutely crazy, and now they're back at literally nothing, right? And that happens so fast. But I promise you, in a bull run, when this bear market kicks in, it might seem great when it's all like, it's so good when it's going up, right? And the bull markets are so crazy. We've had a good start of the bull run, right? It's just the start of 2025 that has been a little bit lackluster, right? But that's part of the game. So a lot of people, in my opinion, are not investing in blue chips. And why are they doing that? And this is just reality. People don't make enough money. People want to make more money than they think is possible. And that's why we enter cryptocurrency. But I promise you, man, like, maybe outside of Bitcoin, Ethereum is still a good buy in my opinion right now, because it's had a lackluster bull run. I think you can still make a lot of money in there. But a lot of people are looking for literally 50 to 100x plays. And they are possible. I've seen it so many times. But ultimately, people are chasing their full portfolios, big amounts of money, even for them, even if it's 5 to 10K, even if it's $1,000 and that's all they have. They're betting the full farm because they have to make it. And the unpopular opinion on that is you should have good income. If you have a stable income and your rent's low and you've not got a crazy car bill and everything's clean in the real world, you don't have to chase these 100x coins. Or you can, but 60, 70, 80% of your portfolio is in good positions where ultimately you're guaranteed to make money. And that might be coins, like, there's no shout out to these coins, but that can be Bitcoin, that can be Ethereum, that can be XRP, that can be BNB, it can be Cardano, HBAR, Solana, all these solid coins, Sui, Aerodrome Finance. And then you start to come down the line, you've built up your main bags first. And we all have our little favorite altcoins, right? Stuff that is here for this bull run. And then once that 70% is filled up, that's guaranteed to bring you money. If this bull run is still intact, which I still think it is, and we'll talk about that in a second, you can take the rest, the absolute shit. And number one is, okay, well, if they go to shit, your main ones pay for that, and hopefully they pay for more than that. But number two, if they do go well, it's just a better scenario. But everybody's taking that second chunk and putting 100% into these low market cap coins. And for most of the time, people lose money. They lose it all, and then they think cryptocurrency is a scam. And then what ultimately happens is they do this in an expo run and an expo run, and they always ask, like, how do people make money in cryptocurrency? And it just comes back to that portfolio of blue chip coins in certain sectors that you like, and then you have the shit. And for my opinion, like, there's nothing wrong with riding these meme coins. I've got a big play on Brett. I think I had over $60,000 to $80,000 at the peak. Right now, it's like worth 20, but I put that in a DeFi liquidity pool, and it's printing me about $45,000 on free fees with Ethereum. That's a little bit too technical. We don't have to talk about that right now, but I did that understanding that, number one, I didn't want to buy Dogecoin. I didn't want to buy Shiba. I didn't want to buy, what's the other one, Flocky. I didn't want to buy Dog with Hat. I wanted to take a bet with a little bit more research on, Brett being the number one coin on the base chain, Coinbase potentially listing it, but it hasn't happened yet, although it's listed Dog and Me and what's the other one called Toshi, which it doesn't really make sense to me. But ultimately, that was a small percentage of my portfolio. And I put it in a DeFi pool because I understood the risk/reward of this meme coin, but it got me so pissed off that everybody was making money on these meme coins. So that was the main one I chose. I've got some other ones as well. But ultimately, it was just a small percentage of my portfolio. If I put 100% of my bag in Brett, it would be very, very scary right now. And I would almost think myself, like, what the fuck have I done? Why didn't I just build up these blue chip assets first? And that's how you make a lot of money. So lesson number 2 is, like I said, unfortunately, people are going to lose all their money, or they're maybe not going to do as well as they think. And I don't want that to be you. So take that lesson with a grain of salt, but I promise you, a diversified portfolio. And remember, even with cryptocurrency, man, if you compare cryptocurrency to the stock market, to other stuff, you can still make good money in the solid coins. It's just everybody thinks cryptocurrency has to be about making the 50 to 100x gains, and it just doesn't have to be that way, man. If you just have a decent bull run, and maybe you make a 5 to 7, maybe even a 10x in some coins, right? You can come back in the next bull run. Okay, and you can rinse and repeat this. Buy the solid coins that you think in a bear market that you think are going to be around for the next one with the profits you took. And that's how you can get the 100x from just 1 or 2 bull cycles. You do a 10x, you come back in the bear, you sell, you buy lower, and you go again. That's how you can do it in the real world. But ultimately, everybody wants to make money this bull run. And I get it, but in my opinion, that is a bad way, especially if you're brand new. Because I can give you a caveat to that and how important it is to be in blue chips, especially in times like this when the market is taking big whoopsie doopsies. Here's what I want to say. So if you're in, and I'm just going to look at meme coins, for example, AI6ZZ, whatever it was called, was a super hot coin. You've obviously had Mudang, what's Thailand kind of hippo, I think it was. Pudgy Penguins, you got just a chill guy, blah, 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 blah. In the last 3 months, 3.5 months, 4 months, whatever, by the time I post this video, is on the year to date, these numbers are actually scary. Like, if you put all of your plays in non-blue chip coins, and again, I'm not saying these coins can't do well. They've done super, super well for some people, but they understood to catch these early, take profits, and then maybe they banked other coins, right? But if you're a hodler for this 2025 bull run, which most of us are, and that's the way I'm playing this game, if you invested 100% of your bag or even a high amount of your bag in these coins, on the year to date, in that 4 months, the numbers are scary. The first one, AI166 or whatever, is down at 88%. So if you put $10,000 or $1,000, however much you have, you've now got barely any money left. Gotius Maximus, a solid other coin. You've got $1,000 from that. You've lost $9,000 if it was 10K play. Mudang, 84% down. Pudgy Penguins, 82% down. And these can work great in a bull market, right? Before we had the big boopsie doopsie in kind of late 2024, mid 2024, these coins were doing well. But if you just started to buy after Donald Trump won the election, it has been a very difficult time. And you could just compare this to the top 100 coins, for example. Year to date, Bitcoin's only down 8%, although it's had a horrible start to 2025. Ethereum's a big kicker on this one, which is kind of freaky why it's not doing too well, but I still think Ethereum is a buy of a lifetime, some 42%. You look at XRP, it's actually up. You look at BNB, it's only down 10%. Solana's obviously taking a big beating, down 30%. But most of these coins aren't anywhere close to the 70, 80, 90%, unlike these non-blue chip assets. So again, in times like this, I think it's very important to fill up the safer coins that aren't sexy, that aren't going to give you 10, 20, 30, 40x returns. But again, if you're coming into this market and you do a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6x, come around again and buy back in lower, that is enough for you to almost guarantee to do the 100x or the 50x by the next bull run. And I promise you that's much better strategy. And it just, at least for me, I can sleep at night. Now, again, you could choose one of these coins, but choose the biggest part of your portfolio in the solid assets. I talked about this before, and it's an analogy I like to use, and it's called Mr. Market. So I shared this, and maybe you didn't see the video, but I'm going to share it right now, and I think this is very important. So I want you to imagine, let's just say you and your wife, you own your own home, etc., etc., right? And what happens is there's a guy called Mr. Market, right? He just comes to your house every single day, and what he does is he gives you a price for your house. And how this really works, and this will tie back into cryptocurrency. Let's say your house is worth $200,000. Mr. Market comes in, he says, okay, well, today it's worth 210. You might feel good, you might feel great. And then slowly beyond, he doubles your house price, right? He now says your house is $200,000, but it's now worth $400,000, right? And what I'm saying here is that'll make you feel great. That'll make you feel fantastic. And you might even think about selling your house to go and buy an upgraded house or to invest somewhere else. And if you compare this to cryptocurrency, Mr. Market, we are presented with this character every single day, in fact, every single hour, forever. Because nobody comes to your house and shows you the exact value of your house. You just, maybe you bought your house at X price, you expect it to go up maybe 5-10% per year or whatever, right? You don't really think about it, right? Because you don't plan to sell your house. But in cryptocurrency, we're presented with this mystery character called Mr. Market. And every single day, on every single asset, he gives us a price. And for example, 2024, the end of 2024, kind of like the house scenario, he started to give you 3x higher than what you initially thought it was going to be worth. Then he gave you 4x higher. Some of these coins, when Donald Trump won the election, went 10, 20, 30x. And you start to feel great. But slowly after, a couple months later, Mr. Market now projects you, like Solana, for example, is worth $300. He's now giving you a price of, 120, 130, 140, 150. Kind of fluctuates around this price. And then you feel kind of shit, right? Because you're like, oh, I'm not doing too well. The confidence kind of goes. And what I'm trying to say in this scenario is, number one, with the house scenario, you were never trying to sell anyways. And hopefully with cryptocurrency, if you're playing this game like me, with Mr. Market giving you a price on Solana, for example, that's down like 50% since the 300 highs, you probably weren't thinking about selling anyways. But now that you're given this price, it's almost like you're thinking about jumping ship. And really what I mean by that is, if you're playing this bull run for 2025, why should you be bothered what Mr. Market comes and gives you a price for your assets? And yes, it can suck because we know the prices. We look at our portfolio every single day. I'm guilty of this too. I look at multiple times per day, but I'm trying to buy something, right? I'm seeing what's a good opportunity, but I still see the other coins and I look back at, peak of January, kind of December time, and I see what Mr. Market was giving me those coins, and now I don't feel as good. But in the house scenario, you don't really think about it, but it's only in cryptocurrency that we start to think about it because we want to maybe sell. Maybe we're starting to panic. But if you're playing the 2025 bull run, it shouldn't matter what this mystery character of Mr. Market gives you because you weren't going to sell until 2025 anyways. So seeing him give you a price, yes, it's scary. Yes, it can make you feel shit at times. It can make you feel great if he gives you a higher price. Why does it matter? Because you weren't planning to sell anyways. Now, I want to talk about how I see the next 6 to 9 months. So at the current time recording, it's basically April. So May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. So 6-9 months. If we're playing for this 2025 bull run, that is kind of the times where I think it's kind of go time. Now, we are kind of rewarded right now with some good DCAs if we get the 4-year cycle. And the reason why I still think we have the 4-year cycle in play is, I've shared this many times on my channel, this is the 50-week MMA line. And what this typically means is as long as we're above this yellow line, and I was getting a little bit scared here when we almost wicked it, but we didn't come close to it. Every single cycle, if we stay above this yellow line here that I religiously have on my charts, again, I would urge you guys to get this. It's on TradingView, just type in 50 MMA, and you can get rid of the 100, the 200, the 350, and this is on the weekly. On the weekly, if we stay above this, and we've wicked it many, many times, but we respectively bounced, we are on for this 2025 bull run. If we were to break this, none of the videos I've made in the past are relevant anymore because then I would think about, okay, well, it's probably over if history repeats because in 2013, 2017, 2021, and 2025, historically, as right now, we have closed always above it. Even if we've wicked it, we've always closed above it. So this is why I still think and still believe the 4-year cycle is on play. And you probably do too, because why would you be watching a cryptocurrency video? Why would you probably trying to invest in more coins? Yes, it can be scary because coins aren't doing too well. But if you were buying in 22, 23, and even early 24, you're much higher than what you are unless you went under the different narratives that we talked about with 100x plays that maybe didn't play out. And this just goes to show you, if you can invest in solid projects, you will make good money. But ultimately, the next 6 to kind of 9 months is very, very crucial because you have 3 options. Number one, if you're panicking and you're thinking about selling, you should probably just sell. And I hate to say that, but in my opinion, this game is a brutal market. It is a blood sport. It is player versus player. And if you're losing at sleep at night because you have to make it happen, and if you don't, you're going to have some big financial difficulties, especially if you took out debt like we talked about before, I think you should sell. Cryptocurrency should not make you lose sleep. It can make you feel pissed off at times, but use that as motivation to go make money in the real world, to start buying at DCA prices. As long as you're buying solid projects, you will be fine. But if you're losing sleep, I hate saying this, you probably should sell, because it is not worth losing sleep over. Number two is, you can take this as buying opportunities of a lifetime. There's so many people that I know, especially on Solana, that were saying they wish they could have bought Solana under $200. They wish they could have bought Solana at 180. They wish they could have bought Solana at 150. You're 130 right now. So why, again, back to Mr. Market, with him giving you a price every single day, why are you scared now at 131? Why are you scared? If you believe in this altcoin, if you think the bull run's still on, should you not be gobbling up as much Solana and some other coins that you like that you never thought we'd get back there? I see it so many times on Twitter, and this is why I don't really like to go on Twitter too much, especially on YouTube. Everybody says, oh, I wish this coin was this price. Well, now it is. And in fact, it's now lower. So why are you not following through with your plan? You have to have balls in this game. You have to be able to take these, punches on the chin. Mr. Market's going to come and he's going to mess with you, but he will give you opportunities of a lifetime every now and again in a bull cycle, and he will say, do you want this opportunity or do you not? Are you the man you said you were? Are you the girl you said you were? And you either don't do it and you miss it going up again and kick yourself thinking, I wish I could have bought this, or you take him and you say, okay, Mr. Market, I'm going to play this game, and you buy and you wait because you're here for 2025. So the next kind of 2 to kind of 3 months, it's kind of shaky. Nobody knows the answer, by the way. You've got Donald Trump obviously bringing in the tariffs. You've got some other bad talks about recession. And if that happens, it's going to be a very risk-off market, meaning people are going to sell more cryptocurrency, and we're probably going to go down lower. But ultimately, that gives you the opportunity, again, if you still think this bull cycle's on, Mr. Market's going to give you maybe Solana prices of 110, 105, God's here, maybe $90. And he will ask you, hey, you want to buy? Or if you don't, get the fuck out of the game. You're not here to play. And you have to be able to take that with a grain of salt, and you have to be able to say, okay, this market is actually bullshit, but I can buy these prices at a lot lower value, e.g. the dollar value I'm putting in today is giving me more coins to sell for 2025. And if you can understand that and you can have conviction on this and not get scared with the choppiness, you'll make way more money. Because if a Solana was $1,000 right now, you're not going to do any damage, okay? You're not going to be able to buy as many Solana. But if Solana goes to $100, if we get talks of recession, and we're already having talks of them, if we get the Trump tariff news coming soon, wrecking cryptocurrency prices, you can now, if Solana went $100, you can now buy 10x more Solana than if it was $1,000. And then in the bull run, you can sell for whatever that value is worth. So that is how I see this market going on forward. I still think we're in this bull market. Again, we've respected that 50-week SMA. We just have a lot of choppiness. Leverage traders getting wrecked. There's so much bad news coming out, but ultimately, Bitcoin's still kind of chilling in 80K. If you look how far we've came, I would say it's actually plain stale, and it's just very bad if you look at the start of the year, because everybody thought when Donald Trump was in office, it was game on. And guess what? We were rewarded with Mr. Market coming in the game and saying, nope, it's not going to be that easy. And now you have a chance. If you still believe this market is in play, if you have the cash flow, if you have the balls to buy coins way cheaper than they were back in December, January time. So again, that's my actual plan. I'm going to take the lessons I learned from 2021. I'm not going to be able to time everything perfectly. I'm going to buy when I can. I'm not going to use any debt. I'm going to take profits out 2020 as best as I can. I'm going to start to diversify in coins I like. Maybe start looking at some more blue chip coins that are getting cheap right now. Sui, Render, Solana is getting even more sexier. And I'm going to start to play those games because they're ultimately getting so cheap. And I still believe in this bull run. Cryptocurrency isn't going anywhere. If you're investing, like I said, in the non-blue chip assets, that's when it can be a little bit risky. But you're also rewarded if you actually have solid conviction in those coins, you've done a little bit of research, and then they can pay off. But a diversified portfolio is always going to be needed. Now, real quick, if you want to buy most of these coins on a cheap exchange, in fact, pretty much every single coin, you can use my link in the description for BTCC. It's one of my favorite exchanges right now, and they do give people using the Jake Gordon link. If you want to check it out, it's in the link in the description, and you get a 10% bonus for $500 and above. So if you spend $500, they'll give you an extra $50. Even if you move the money elsewhere, you'll still get that free $50. It costs you nothing to do this. UK guys, you will need a VPN. You can just use Nord. It's like $2-3 a month, but ultimately they have a special deal right now for viewers of this channel. And again, if you're a trader, they also have fees of 40% lower than Coinbase, Binance, and many other platforms out there. Trusted by millions for 14 years. Again, they've got over 300 cryptocurrency assets on here. So again, if you like the channel and if you want this cheap discount right now, and especially if you want to go and trade, they've got one of the best fees in the market. So I'd appreciate if you use that link if you want. Again, what's really nice, if you don't want a KYC exchange, there's no bullshit with filling in your passports, etc. You can buy, you can move it to your hardware wallet, you can move it in DeFi liquidity pools like we were doing. But again, they have this special bonus bonus in here. And I don't know how long it's going to be, but right now you can get a 10% bonus on your first time deposit, which is basically free money. Even if you move the money elsewhere, you're still rewarded with that 10% back. And also real quick, you can check out the first link in the description. We have a few more free calls available if you want to look at monetizing your assets. Maybe you have Render, Aerodrome Finance, Solana. Sui's been a great one for our guys in our community. If you want to DCA for free, you can put your assets right now in a liquidity pool, and we'll show you how to do this. We've got a lot of our guys making more than 10K per month, which is super fucking amazing to see, and these guys are just scaling beyond. So again, this is really for people if you have a decent sized portfolio and you maybe don't have as much cash like me because I'm spending it all on my portfolio, but you can use those assets and you can print free coins and you can get more coins for this bull run to sell in peak 2025. So again, check out this link in the description if you want. It is a free call, but ultimately our goal is to get every single member to 10K and beyond. And again, why this really works so well is you are accumulating. For example, I've got a Solana pool. I'm accumulating so much Solana right now at 130, even if it goes to 110, even if it goes back to 150. I am DCing in. As I'm making this video, I am DCing into Solana without having to bring any fresh money in. So if you have a decent sized portfolio, or if you just want a free call, you can go and check that out. We'd love to help you out, and we'd love to get more members above that 10K. And it's just a great thing to be able to connect with other people in this space right now that want to take it to the next level.